So my week has changed. It's not what I thought it was going to be. First of all, we had some rain, and I wasn't able to get out into the community to do a lot of video taping. I was able to go to a few of the places that I would recommend that we go, that people would know about. I was able to talk to some people from around our community. I was able to do some of the interviewing that I was hoping to do. What I wasn't able to do was actually video some of that. I did finally have a good day, and I went out yesterday and I got a bunch of footage of me walking around the town. I'm going to share some of that. The problem is that we're in Florida. It was very sunny, and for some reason, a lot of the video is very bright and hard to see, even what I'm trying to show you. So now today I am at a hospital, and I'm in a hospital in Orlando, so I'm not in my community, which I am regretful of, but I'm about to become a grandfather again. So my daughter is having her baby today, and last night, middle of the night, even though the plan was to get up this morning and try to re-video, I came here to Orlando instead. So let's get at this. I spent a good amount of time this week just looking for God in our neighborhood, looking where I would find Him, what He might be doing, how He was working in people's lives, that kind of thing. I tried to go into it with a very open mind and what to expect for the people of our community to connect to God and what they would get out of even some conversation and some discussion about some of that. So what I found was, first of all, that there is an overall Christian morality in our community. I'd call that the main theme, the main thing that is really, really evident in the way the people are around us. Everybody that I talk to at least has a reverence to God and who He is and how He works in their lives. Even though many of them pretty obviously are not living what a moral standard of most of the Protestant Christian churches would call reality. So I'm here in Trenton, Florida. This is one of our small parks. This is the train depot, and this is where we often start our walk in the morning. It's they've taken these old railroad tracks and they've made them into trails. So now there's a lot of bikers and bicyclers and walkers and runners, and those who do those kind of things use this. It's also a form of transportation. It connects a lot of the kids, walk the trail to go to school and that kind of thing. So our town is a pretty cool town. It's still kind of an older setting in a lot of ways. You can see that used to be the Coca-Cola factory. They've taken that and made it into a museum for quilts, and they have a big quilting festival here every year. We have one traffic light in our whole county, and it happens to be right over there. Another of the really obvious trends or themes of our community is that we are a farming community. There's quite a few people that are very proud of that. We have people here that have been here their whole lives. They live in the area, and so they enjoy just being here, being on their land, being in the farm, and enjoy working on their tractors and plowing the land and working the fields. And so that's a pretty obvious thing. Agriculture of all kinds, from the people at the schools. There's a very, very strong FFA group here in two of the high schools. We have two high schools in the community. Actually, we probably have 4 high schools in the community. All 4 of them have FFA groups. All 4 of them compete often at the state level. They do a lot of agricultural things. So they grow peanuts, they grow watermelon. Those are the two main crops of the area. But we also have a lot of greens, so turnip greens and collard greens and mustard greens and rutabagas and those kind of things. They do a lot of that, and again, very proud of that that work that they do. So this is one of the streets. You can see the different houses, and we have everything from single wide and double wide trailers to little, what they call cracker houses. They're built on footers with small foundations, to fairly stable. There's a block house right there, so quite a few children around, and it's a Friday morning, so it's not a real busy time, but there's often see people out riding their bicycles and walking around, and it's always nice because I love to meet people, so I get to spend some time just talking to people. A lot of people have boats, a lot of people have swimming pools. I wanted to give you a few demographics of our community. First of all, live in Trenton. Well, I actually live just outside of Trenton. The church is about a mile, maybe just a little over a mile from the quote-unquote city limits. So Trenton is about 2,000 strong. There's about 2,000 people that live here in Trenton. Just north of us, 10 miles north, is a town called Bell. It's quite a bit smaller. About 450 people live in there. And then 10 miles to the southwest of us is Chiefland. Chiefland's a little bit bigger. It's probably the biggest town. Well, it's not biggest town, but it's closer. That's where like all of our stores and things like that are. We have a few little stores. Chiefland is about 2,200 people, and then Newberry is 13 miles. They're 13 miles due east of us toward Gainesville. So I'm 26, 27 miles from Gainesville. Newberry is 13 miles from us to there, so just about halfway. And Newberry is about 5,000 people. Fanning Springs is due west of us. It's just a little town where there is a spring. Obviously, that's why it's called Fanning Springs. There's a few springs there actually, but Fanning Springs is their big spring. And there's a little restaurant there and a very small community of about 750. And then Gainesville, back to the east again, like I said, about 26 miles. Gainesville is about 125,000. So, gives you some demographics. So, this is the main drag, main street going through town. Shop 26. 26 is one of the, actually it is the only main road that goes from the Gulf of Mexico all the way into Gainesville straight. It is almost a horizontal road on east to west. So it's like the main road for everything west of us, which I guess is probably 25, maybe 30 air miles if you were flying to the Gulf from me. It takes 45 minutes to get there. The roads, this is a state route, like I said, it's 2-lane. And then it drops into much smaller lanes. Obviously stays 2-lane, but gets much smaller as you go out toward the Gulf, and a lot of unmarked center lines and things like that. But anyway, so we just passed Trenton First Baptist, and there's Trenton First United Methodist, and the Family Dollar, and the McDonald's, and the courthouse across the street as we're coming up to the red light. Again, like I said, the only traffic light in the county. So I think they call that, I think they're kind of proud of that, to be honest. But anyway, so this is what our town looks like. It's kind of how we live and work, and it's a laid back, good southern town. It's funny because it's one of the only places I've been, maybe the only place I've been in my life, that if somebody stopped on the side of the road, people still stop to find out if they can help. And never any, I want this in return, just an all like, let me help you with whatever I can help you with. So it's a great place to live, great place to be, and we enjoy it a lot. Hitchcock's is our only grocery store. We had a Walmart neighborhood market. It went in about 3 months ago, and they just decided to close it. So right now the community's really up in arms about that. Again, there's the courthouse, and Chamber of Commerce is right next to it, and then Hitchcock's and the Capital City Bank, and there's the newspaper. The last theme that I would say is very prevalent in our area is that the people here take a pride in their businesses. A lot of small businesses around, very much hometown feel, hometown workers, restaurants and tractor farmers and tractor repair and mechanics, things like that. Like I said, restaurants are pretty big, but they're all small. Like I said, we only have 3 or 4 in our community, which I've already talked to you about with some other things. So that's kind of where we are with that. You can see behind me, that's one of the fields that you see coming out. I live in the parsonage, which is on the same land as the church. So you can see that as well. The idea of being in a small town community, everybody needs everybody, very much the feel here. So the theme that I would call that is family, community, excited about who they are and what they believe and why they're together. So what I found that was most intriguing or exciting to me was that God is at work in this community in a lot of ways. What I see that, I don't know that it concerns me, but confuses me some. I am not trying to save the world. That's probably a bad thing in some people's eyes, but what I see as my call from God is to share the truth of a life in the Spirit, the ability to live above sin and without sin, and not that we can't ever sin, but that we have an opportunity or an ability to live without it, to live without letting sin and the nature of a feeling like we are constantly under the gun for God to just destroy us because we're so sinful, terrible people. I see that as kind of our call, that we are talking about a life of love and a life of peace and a life that makes an intentional difference as we live for Him. And I'm seeing that in our community. I'm seeing people here that are allowing God to lead them, and we have people in every one of these places, in our agricultural businesses, in our restaurants. I often ask the waitresses that are waiting on me if there's something I can pray for them about. There is just an overall feeling here of people seeing that God is working in their lives. Now, I say that knowing that all of them do not come to a church. All of them are not involved in a church. But all of them, not all of them, but the majority of the people here are open to what the Spirit might be doing or how He might be moving in and through this place. So, it's been a really good week of listening to people and talking to people and trying to figure out a little bit about what God is doing here among us, around us, in our community, and even in and through our church. So I'm excited about that, and I am just looking forward to listening to and watching all of your videos. God bless.